right. We're here.
We're here.
First episode.
I'm so excited.
Oh, me too.
Are you?
I'm nervous and excited. I feel like I'm losing my virginity again.
Are you? Well, I didn't wear any panties just in case.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's very considerate. Thank you very much.
I try. It's
so
very
anyway,
selfish, actually.
Yeah. But anyway, well, I really appreciate you being here. First episode. So Miss Melony Melons.
Hi.
So hi to everybody. Yes.
Yes. So exciting. I wonder why they call me Melony Melons.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm going to ask you about that later on. Okay. You know, but yeah. So really happy that you got here and that we're doing this. So anyway, so I just wanted to get right to it. And, you know, I know that you're pretty new to the industry. So you said when you started in
February of 2023.
Okay. Yeah. So you're just a few months in. So how's it been so far?
Oh my God. Can you see the smile on my face? This has been the best thing ever. Like, I don't know why I didn't do porn before. Like, it's not only is it fun, it's different all the time. There's so much stuff to learn. And I really love learning stuff. I'm like one of those geeks.
Yeah, well, no, learning is a great thing.
Yeah, and I've learned so much more self-acceptance and self-love and just acceptance from people all over the world. And it's the best shit ever.
Well, I'm glad, yeah, and that's awesome. So, were you someone that you were a pretty sexual person already, and this just kind of felt like a natural outgrowth of that?
Funny you should ask.
Well, you know.
So I used to be a stripper for 18 years in Southern California.
Okay,
I was one of the top 3 to 10, they say, but we'll just go with top 3. Girls at any club for several years running voted
Sure.
There's an actual website with people voted.
Oh, there is.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say there has to be something, some sort of.
I didn't even know until after the fact. I didn't even know I was up for it or anything.
Really?
Yeah. So I made top 10 3 years in a row on this website called zbone.com.
Okay.
And I learned about it the second year, and I was like, oh, I could have really been working that this whole time. Thanks for not letting me know.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Add credentials to it.
Yeah. And so as the stripping industry changed and transformed years and years ago from just doing lap dances to VIP rooms. Mm-hmm. Well, me being one of the queens of the club I would do a lot of VIPs.
Sure.
And so, VIPs aren't necessarily dancing. They're a little bit more GFE, if we can say that. Yeah. So you do the math. We're going to shorten it. So my career was 18 years long, and we're going to go 8 years, figure 40, 45, weeks out of the year. Mm-hmm. 5 VIPs on average a night.
Okay.
And, 5 to 6 nights a week. And the total is 9,673. Now, I've had dates in addition to that, and done porn and some content creation over the last year and a half. So I think I'm very, very close to 10,000, and I'm actually really fucking excited about it.
Oh, wait. So that's your body count?
Yeah, that's my body count. Yeah.
Almost 10,000.
Almost 10,000, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're like Wilt Chamberlain at this point.
Oh, Wilt Chamberlain has got thousands more, but I definitely beat Charlie Sheen. I'm number 6 on the world global list. Yeah. I Googled it. I did. You can Google it.
That is, I feel like Guinness would have a record for that.
They do.
They should.
Like the record holder are these twin sisters, right? I mean, it's really not fucking fair. Twins, how are you going to compete with twins?
Sure.
Sure. They have 175,000 is their number. Granted, they also worked in a brothel since they were I don't know, 17, and now they're 75. So
175.
Yeah, I think on average, per year, I could probably beat them if I.
That's applying yourself.
Yeah, I might not be that motivated, come to think of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess a few gangbangs you might be able to knock out,
Oh my God,
hundreds at a time.
Speaking of gangbangs, so isn't there used to be this girl, Jasmine St. Clair, right? And I think she did 500 guys in one night or something. We should Google it for sure.
Yes.
But anyway, I want to remake her stuff, because I really think I can do 1,000.
Yeah. There was another performer. Her name was Lisa Sparks. I know a few years ago, she, I think, set the record at some insane number, and I forgot what it was.
Oh my God, what was it? I have to know now.
I'll have to look at it later.
We'll Google it later.
I don't want to spend the whole time just looking on my phone, looking at stats.
You're right. Let's continue.
But anyway,
yes.
So, all right. So, but you were talking about though that the stripper industry changed. How is when did that change start, and why do you think the change happened?
Well, the change started kind of with VIP rooms, but most of the top girls, we all held our value for a long, long time, for probably the first, 7 years that there was VIP rooms.
Sure.
But then little by little, there's always that one girl, one individual that maybe needs the money more, and maybe is more desperate for it, maybe is willing to do more for less. And so it went from that one girl to several girls to a lot of people were doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I love sex and I love to have fun, but I'm also at work and want to get paid.
Sure.
Same thing if I'm chefing or running a food truck or doing anything else, you still want to get paid adequately for your time.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
So it changed in that sense, and it just became really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And so I just did a career change. So
you were in California doing this, and so what made it? Did you move here from California, or did you come here from somewhere else?
So I'm originally from Southern California, Inland Empire. Hello,
nice.
But I moved to Salt Lake City.
Interesting. How was that?
It's Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay.
It's not my vibe for sure. I mean, you can tell, I'm like this all the time. And they were just didn't know what the fuck to do with me. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's Salt Lake City.
I can't imagine any city not liking big boobs. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, Utah just passed that thing. They banned porn. So they're really fucked up.
Yeah.
They're so suppressed. It's very,
sure.
It was, So I was in Salt Lake City for 5 years. And I just found myself out here in Vegas more and more.
Okay.
The more into content creation I got. And I was just it just seemed like a natural step. If I wanted to go further with just content creation, I needed to make that move and that leap of faith and get here.
So why would you choose? I mean, because you knew LA. What was it? Because obviously there's a lot of porn and the adult industry is, I think, more associated with Los Angeles and all that stuff. I'm curious why was it that you didn't want to go back there? Was it?
Well, I mean, have you been to California? It's expensive.
Sure. I was going to say that.
It's super expensive. And so this was a nice medium. And I was here all the time anyway.
Yeah.
And I love the whole 24-hour lights are always on vibe,
Sure.
New York City and I would be best friends. I've never been there, but I'm coming at some point.
It's a lot colder though. The nice thing is here is the warmth.
We're good here in Vegas then, where it's warm. Yeah. And so it just seemed like a natural thing. And I moved here in December of last year. I went to an after party at AVN. It was my first year ever going to AVN.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't actually even going to go until this after party the first night where I met Thor Johnson.
Sure.
And so then he brought me with him.
Oh, nice.
And so he actually helped get me into porn. So this is probably my fourth career. Porn is my fourth career.
Well, and reinvention that's what life is, that you can have these multiple chapters in your life where you start doing something else and then you go and you move on to things that just feel right and they think that, and it's what you want to do. And it sounds like you're really happy doing what you're doing right now.
I wish I had found porn 20 years ago. I really do. It's the best shit ever.
Well, but you know what? The fact that you're able to come to it when you did, it seems like it seems like you're doing, really well with it right now. And it seems like you're really happy, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm super happy. And to be honest, if I had started porn 20 years ago, I would have been such a dick. I just would have been such an ungrateful, gimme type of person. And
really?
So I'm really grateful that the world gets to see me at this point in my life.
Sure.
Where I'm really
well, yeah, because when you get older, you get more. You tend to get you've had more life experience, and so you can you look at life differently, and so it's. By the way, I just had to compliment you. Beautiful outfit, and it's funny. We actually matched, which is great.
We didn't plan this at all. We didn't plan this at all. And I was like, high five.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So
get out of my head, man. Get out of my head. It's not a good neighborhood sometimes.
Yeah. Right. So, all right. So this is your fourth career. So you want to take us through your previous three, or because you already talked about the stripping. So that was which number was that?
That was probably 3. So maybe this is the 5th. We'll have to figure it out. Let's do the math. It's not my strong suit, obviously. I mean, this is 8 inches, right? No.
Nah.
I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping. Okay. So I started out as an actress in Southern California.
Okay. In Hollywood and.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I had headshots and everything. And I went by Susan San Giorgio.
Interesting.
Yeah, I happened to see the bottle of perfume of Giorgio perfume. And I was like, all right. Yeah. So
went for an Italian kind of.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't want to go with
Sure.
So I did that, and then I went into what did I go into? Went into real estate.
Okay.
And then was kind of like in dancing at the same time.
Sure.
I didn't really start real estate, like really get a foothold in it. So then I started dancing. And then I became a Michelin star trained chef.
All right.
And then now I do porn. So I guess it's at 4 or 5. I don't know. You tell me. So
you had actress, you had real estate, you had stripper, chef. So be 5.
Okay, 5. Okay, great.
So 5. So as a chef, I'm curious. How do you become Michelin rated? Is that something that you have to test, or somebody comes and observes you to like give that certification? How does that work?
So it's part of the Michelin Guide. It started out as the Michelin Guide, which was like, how to travel around the country and stuff. And now it's a global thing. There are secret Michelin people, like Michelin raters. Nobody knows who they are.
Oh, that makes sense.
They're not allowed to say who they are. They're not allowed to tell their family. They're not allowed to do anything like that. They make reservations.
Like secret agent.
Yeah. It's like secret shopper. Yeah. And they come in and they'll visit your restaurant not once, but twice. And it's kind of word of mouth, like when there's a global buzz about something, they have their ear to the ground. So they hear about these new and innovative type places, restaurants. So they go check them out. I mean, there's only so many cities in the world that will get a rating. It's like Los Angeles, New York, DC.
I think we have a few here actually.
Vegas. Yeah. Vegas is one, like Tokyo.
Yeah.
So it's a small number. It's not like.
They're not going to Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. They're not going to go to Scranton, unless it's an exceptional thing.
Yeah.
And then they would, maybe an off thing. It's very, very, very unlikely. Very unlikely. So they go and they rate, and it's based on an overall thing. It's based on the food in large part.
Okay.
It's on the technique. It's on the innovation of how you change something or transform something.
Sure.
It's on the plating. It's on the plates themselves and the silverware and how the silverware is placed and the servers and if they held their arm in the right position and how long did that fork sit on the floor that they accidentally placed there. It's based on all of it, but it's extremely demanding in the kitchen because that's why people are really there is for the food.
Sure.
It's extremely, I've had days where I've worked at 6:30 in the morning until 3:30 the next morning, being yelled at from half the time and crying, and then going home, turning right around, taking a shower and getting back in the kitchen by 6:30 again.
Wow.
It's an insane amount of dedication and love that you have to have.
Sounds
to make it through. You have to really want it, I really want to be big in porn, but you have to really want it in the Michelin system.
Well, and it sounds really grueling. And it seems like only the chefs that are genuinely passionate about it, because I'm sure going through that process probably weeds out less dedicated, maybe chefs. I mean, and not to say that it's a knock against them in any way. It's just, it's an extra level
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody.
It's like being a Navy SEAL.
It's not for everybody.
You have the cream of the crop of soldiers that can become Navy SEAls. Most of them fail.
Yeah. And so I excelled with food. I mean, I took a lot of yelling and, years and years of crying in the walk-in every day, thinking I wasn't good enough and why was I here? And just, but just something in me kept saying just to keep, pushing forward.
So has food been like a passion of yours for?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Italian, so,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So food is like air in an Italian's family,
Sure.
I grew up at the age of 3 cooking meatballs and sauce every Sunday morning with my grandmother in the kitchen on my little stool,
Oh, nice.
If my Uncle John was home, he got the first meatball, but really it was meant for me.
Okay.
We know.
Sure.
Yeah.
So cooking means, just a lot to you and kids, because cooking it can be a very artful thing. I mean, there's very functional food, and then there's food that there's actually a lot of inspiration to. And so, did you have any specific cuisines? Obviously Italian, but was there other things that you really liked cooking in terms of the different ingredients and the flavors and all that stuff?
I love all ingredients. I shouldn't say all ingredients. I'm not a super big fan of liver, unless it's foie gras, because then that's totally different.
Sure.
But like French, Mediterranean flavors, I'm not as passionate about Japanese and Asian flavors. I can do them, with ease, but it's mostly like that European.
Okay.
flair is really what it's about for me.
Sure.
Or I can make you like the best fried chicken you've ever had in your life too. So don't think I'm not like all American.
No. Well, I'm a good, steak and potatoes kind of guy.
Yeah.
So,
like a good tomahawk and some like palm dauphinoise.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I meant like steak and potatoes.
No, it's okay. You can get off, it can be fancy. And then, you put it in front of me and it's just like, it's steak and potatoes, right?
Yeah. No, you'll love it.
Eating.
Yeah. It's steak and potatoes. That's exactly
it.
Yeah.
Because there's always that anxiety I've got when I go into a nice restaurant and I can't understand the menu. And I'm just looking at the menu like, okay.
You just have to take someone like me with you.
Exactly.
And I'll be like, palms is potatoes.
Exactly. Yeah. You would be able to, you'd be able to translate the thing for you.
Absolutely. Well, cooking is like a way that I show my love. It's I wish it was one of the love languages, because cooking is definitely, and like in any of my kitchens, I don't allow yelling, I don't allow cursing. You're not allowed to talk down to people. It's all with love. You have to cook with love.
I'd imagine cooking's got to be it's got to be an offshoot of one of the love languages. I mean, whether it's because eating is, like, I saw an article the other day that said that eating and sex trigger the same. Like, I think it's a dopamine or something in your brain to give you pleasure.
Yeah.
So they're doing the same thing.
Yeah. Ask George Costanza.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Where he combines both.
Yes. Not successfully.
I can't do that though. I've tried combining food and sex and it didn't go well. And
okay. I'll come over next Thursday. I'll totally show you some pudding, some well-placed whipped cream.
Because that's the thing is and unfortunately with one not great experience, it's kind of pushed me away. But but you know what? It's okay. I'll try to keep an open mind for the future.
I'm glad.
So because have you thought about maybe trying to combine the cooking with the sex work for content, like to maybe make some like sexy cooking content?
I have sexy cooking content on my OnlyFans if anyone wants to check it out. It's up there. It's like some of the free stuff that's on there. I've made myself a human banana split. I show you how to make like rosemary and sage like biscuits and gravy, stuffed burgers, mac and cheese, chocolate souffle. Chili? I mean, chili. Come on.
Chili?
That's a guy's language, right?
Yes, sure. But I'm trying to imagine now where chili comes in. That's okay.
It was winter time, I think, and I thought, what do guys want to eat right now? Well, chili. Because they're all, chili.
Yeah, it's hearty,
and I thought, what man isn't going to be like, chili, I can do that.
Sure.
Right? So I tried to make it non-intimidating, because I can cook like elevated. And so sometimes I have to really, and then put the titties and the get naked part of it. Oh, and peach pie. I made a peach pie.
Okay.
That was really fun. It was one of my first videos that I did on my OnlyFans, which probably sounds ridiculous right now, but I was so proud of it because I was like, peach pie. I don't know why I get an accent when I'm
well, probably because it's got maybe a Southern connotation or association with it.
So so that was fun because originally my name was OnlyPans until I realized that there was a girl smashing it on TikTok named OnlyPans. I was like, oh, that's a lawsuit. Let's just change that.
All right, so actually, that's a good segue then. So, Melony Melons, how did you come up with that name as your performer name?
So it was OnlyPans, like I just said, and then I went to Miss Melony because my oldest daughter was like, "Well, you have really big melons, Mom. Why don't you use Melony?" And I'm like, "Okay, great." So I was Miss Melony, and then when I went to AVN and was hanging out with Thor, he's all, "It should be Melony Melons," and I was like, okay, that sounds great. So Thor Johnson can take all the credit from naming me and giving me the name Melony Melons.
Well, the boobs are the initial inspiration, though, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. And it played well because then every time I introduced myself after that point at AVN, I was like, "Hi, I'm Melony Melons," and everyone would be like, "Of course you are."
Well, and what's great about the name is, well, first off, it's a very nice, got a nice cadence to it, sound. But what I love about it is that it's kind of a throwback to in the 90s when you had a lot of these these huge-breasted models that and their names were basically this alliteration where it would be, Wendy Whoppers or Tiffany Towers.
Yeah.
To me, I like it because it reminds me of that because that was I look at that as kind of like the golden age of the super fake, like the super huge fake bust. Like natural boobs definitely have I think grown in popularity.
Yeah.
But like when Score magazine started in 1992, it was all about the big fake boobs back then, and that's what they really kind of
shot. Yeah,
that was their primary focus.
Yeah.
But then, as time got on, and they started to find new models that had really large natural boobs, then it felt like there was a
a larger
there was
market.
more. Yeah, there was more to it because some people really like really big fake ones. Some people like really big natural ones. I myself don't discriminate. I like both.
Big is big.
Equal opportunity, huge boob lover.
So, I mean, some do look sexier than others. I mean,
yes. Well, boobs are like fingerprints. No two are the same. No pair are the same.
that's very true. That's very true. Yeah.
So, but no, it's got a great again, it's got a great rhythm to it, and I feel like it's very easy to remember. So,
and then MM upside down looks like some big titties. So, and
it all comes back to that.
Yeah. And it's very, very pleasing, like when it's written out, because it's the same letters, almost identical. So it looks good. I don't know. I just got really lucky. None of that was planned. That's all just like extra benefit.
Well, and that's kind of what's cool. How you go through and you think you've got your, because a lot of the performers tend to probably go through multiple names as they go through their careers, and then just the one that they have is the one that sticks. So, or sometimes when you shoot with certain companies, like I know Score will actually give like a name for them, even though your name might be different. Have you shot with them?
I have shot with them, yeah.
Okay. So, like sometimes they'll give a model like a Score specific name, and other times they'll let it'll be the same name as that you're using for everything else.
They let me be Melony Melons XXX. So.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, Melony Melons. Yeah.
Sure.
And if they ever want me to shoot for them again, I would love to, because it was such a great experience.
Yeah. Oh, so you went down to Miami and okay.
Yeah, I was down in Miami. I got 2 shoots with them. It turns into 4. And it was like the best. It was the best. It was so much fun.
Were they your first professional company you shot with?
Yeah, they were the first. Blaze. I shot for Blaze Studios, Blaze Media.
Okay.
I always get it confused. One is like Hollywood. One is like not. I think it's Blaze Media.
Okay.
So I shot for them for like more of an amateur type shoot, but professional. Where like you're holding
the
up
hair, the makeup,
the makeup. You got a little lunch. You holding up the newspaper. Like super legit. Yeah, that was Score.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that's and you have some professional ones coming up though, right?
I do. I'm so excited. I have 2 shoots with Team Skeet coming up next week.
Okay.
I am so excited. I'm shooting with Ryan King and Mona Mochi.
Okay.
Mochi Mona.
Okay.
She's going to kill me. Yeah. And then Dan Damage. And have you seen Dan Damage?
I have not.
He's going to do some damage.
Really? Okay.
Oh my God. Like, yeah.
I'd imagine so with a name like that.
Yeah. He's not
called Dan Fragile.
No. Like, imagine a wine bottle.
Sure.
I'm a little concerned.
I'm sure.
I'm excited, but
yeah. Well, hey, it's a way of stretching yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really stretching in that character. For sure.
Yeah, you got to be able to grow. Yeah. In your craft.
Yeah, he doesn't need to grow. He's
sure.
He's kind of reached the pinnacle of Yeah. So I have those 2 shoots, and then I have some really cute like scenes coming out that I did myself. One is like a Barbie parody. Okay. One is a Marilyn Monroe parody, and I think I'm going to make a whole series out of the Marilyn Monroe thing.
Sure.
And kind of do it on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
Try and get like a Gamma budget. I don't know. It's kind of large, But I'm also trying to shoot for like Naughty America and Brazzers and Bang Bros and who else? Wicked, Gamma, any of the large studios.
Digital Playground, Jules Jordan.
Yes, please.
MILF.
Call me. Yeah. Yes, call me for sure.
Hopefully some of them might be watching this. It'd be nice to see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Well, and that's hopefully one of the purposes that we can do is be able to just get you to a bigger audience.
Man, that's the best blowjob ever. I don't mean like.
Sure.
No, there's nothing like that going on. I'm just talking trash.
No, that's okay. So I'm curious because I want to go back to the chef because the chef thing's really interesting to me. Because I love food and I wish I could eat like I used to. Unfortunately, as you get older, I feel like my body's become more sensitive to certain things, certain types of foods.
Oh yeah,
like when you're a teenager, you eat anything and you're like, hey, I'm fine.
Yeah. You're 21 and you're eating cold ding dongs in front of the fridge naked. One after the other. Exactly. That doesn't happen anymore.
Well, no, it's funny. When I was in high school, one of my favorite snacks was I would make 2 bags of like Pop Secret popcorn and then 4 Eggo waffles and I put them on top. I put the waffles on top. I wouldn't put anything on them like syrup or anything. I would just eat them because I ate the waffles just plain. But I don't know what it was. It would be like blueberry waffles on top of like the cheddar popcorn.
Yeah.
And now I think to myself, I could never feel comfortable eating that now. I would feel like I was going to really I'm more worried about eating wrong foods now than I am, say, drinking alcohol. Like, I'm not worried about like as much of a hangover with drinking, even though I'm super lightweight at drinking because I don't drink. But like the food stuff was like, man, because that can mess me up for days if I eat the wrong kind of food.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I have that shoot in a couple days. So from here on out, I won't eat any meat. I won't eat any dairy. I won't eat any like eggs or anything. I won't eat any gluten for sure. And I'll try to limit all the sugar out of so I'm having like arugula and like dirt. Air and dirt is my diet for the first couple of days before a shoot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because the amount of prep work sometimes, like especially if you end up doing, I think you don't do anal scenes, but like the fasting, right? The fasting, the enemas, all the prep that you have to do for however many days or the day before.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's that's why people have this notion, I think, of porn, thinking it's this easy job, and
they do.
That it's just, you just show up, you have sex, and you go home. And
no, there's so much more.
No, there's a lot. I mean, I've always looked at because I didn't know much about it until I started to get involved in the industry and I started knowing people and having friends in the industry. And I got to the point where I was like, man, these people are like professional athletes in the way that they have to condition their bodies, the way that they have to train their bodies to do certain things. The fact that, so many positions in porn are not supernatural sex positions.
Reverse cowgirl? I would never do on a date. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, in the way, because it's all about visualization. It's all being able to see everything, as opposed to when it's private, it's very, it's the sex is, you're not caring who's watching. Well, I mean, unless you're into that, which being watched can be fun, but still, I'm just saying. Yeah, I've done that too. But it's still, you're not as worried about like, you're not, if you were doing that like on a balcony, you'd be like, can they see this? Can they see the pit? Should I open you up more for them?
Yeah.
But
right. I'll do that. I'll just position you. Yeah.
You is this okay? Are we good? You're all right? Should I adjust?
You want more POV?
Are you good? All right. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
You get their input, but
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Why isn't there a community like that? That'd be great.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, have you ever heard of the hedonism resorts in Jamaica?
I have. I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
You want to go? Let's go. Everybody's not that much. Come on.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I've heard that it's a very, very fun place. And
I want to go.
I remember. So I remember seeing do you remember that show on HBO, Real Sex?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it was a documentary anthology series where it would talk about, in each episode, it would have maybe 3 or 4 different subjects regarding different elements of sex and stuff like that. And I remember watching that. And that was actually something that had a very big impact on me when I was younger, because it opened me up to sexual kinks and fetishes, and it just made me think, that's interesting. That's different. Anyway, so I remember on one of the episodes it talked about going to that resort called Hedonism. I think at the time it was like Hedonism 2 or Hedonism 3. And then there was that movie that came out called Exit to Eden with Rosie O'Donnell and Dan Aykroyd about the sex resort. That was based on an Anne Rice novel.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny that she wrote the vampire stories and then she writes this story about a sex resort.
Yeah, exactly right.
So
yeah, hedonism was actually I was engaged a couple times. Thank God those never turned out. But anyway, I was engaged a couple times. And so one of the bridal fairs that I went to was like, they had like a retreat to hedonism, right? And I was like, oh my God, that's where I want to go on my honeymoon. Should have understood then that I'm really not the marrying type if that's where you want to go on your honeymoon and the guy's not really into it. But I'm like, no, we should totally go. You'll sleep, right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, so I'm curious, if you're in a relationship, do you prefer like that you have an open, like, obviously, that everybody's on the same page, that you don't, that, because do you think that, because everybody has different rules in regards to if they're in an open situation. So in your, like, what would your ideal situation be if you were dating somebody in that, like?
Well, it's obviously changed considerably since I started my OnlyFans doing content, started mainstream. Before I probably would have wanted something a little bit more traditional with some alternative, like, weekends thrown in there.
Yeah, adventurousness thrown in. Yeah.
But now, I mean, like I'm a professional and I can't be in some traditional relationship where because I have sex that's what I do.
Yeah, that's the job now.
Fucking is my job. You know, I show up and that's my job. And so I prefer if it would be somebody probably in the industry as well, because then they have a better understanding of what actually goes into it. Like they understand, like you show up, you're doing the scene and you go home and you have other things that happen. So the only thing I think I would want out of a relationship is just let me know before you shoot with somebody. I think that's, I think that's the respectful thing, because ahead. It's not like it just pops up, like you're like, oh, I didn't have time to tell you.
Yeah, right.
Because like people have to exchange tests and you have to look like And so that's the only thing I would ask out of respect. Just let me know before. Don't let me see it on Twitter.
Sure. That you find out after the fact.
Yeah, then I'm kind of like, okay.
Well, and communication is important no matter what kind of relationship it is.
Right. So I feel like if there's only one rule and you break that rule, that's it.
Yeah. Well, and
it's not a hard rule.
No, it's not. Well, and that's the thing, is that it seems like that the relationships that tend to, again, no matter what kind of relationship they are, is that if there is no, if you don't establish what the rules are and where that you're on the same page. But I mean, but then again, honestly, it's like, unfortunately, there are times where people because I've been in situations where people will be cool with something and say they're cool with something.
Yeah.
And I've heard this multiple times from other people in the industry, where it's like they'll start dating somebody that's like all about it in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then when they get into it and they're like, well, I kind of don't like this anymore, and I kind of don't want them to be doing this. And it's almost like they think it's cool to. It's obviously probably more men to women doing this than women to men, but I'm sure there's both across the board. So it's I think the idea of dating somebody who does porn sounds really awesome, but then when they realize what that entails, which is why you said, probably an industry person.
Yeah.
So maybe not necessarily another performer, but just somebody who's in the industry who knows.
So they understand, whether they're producer, director, marketing, they have to understand. And by the same token, like I don't care what you do professionally. Like I have not lots, but several at this point, guys that I hang out with on a regular basis. And we have like more intimate relationships. And honest to God, don't give two fucks what they do when I'm not there. I don't care. You say you're filming, great, you're filming. I understand what filming means, I've got some filming to do myself. So it's all good. But if somebody if they're not on that same wavelength, I can't, because I just can't. I wouldn't want to hurt anyone's feelings either.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to lead anyone on or make somebody think like I'm going to change, because I'm not going to change. I'm a whore.
This is your fifth career.
Yeah, I'm not changing.
You've went into this with open eyes. This was not like you were 19 years old and you somehow got, into a situation and I'm not saying everybody that gets in that young doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
But it's just, you're hopefully at a point where you're so comfortable with yourself, and what it sounds like is that this has made you even more comfortable with yourself, which is even better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm in this to win this. Like I'm going to be older than Sally D'Angelo when I retire. And I don't even know how old she is. She's so hot. Like I'm such a fangirl for people like that.
She's killing it with what she's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason at this point. I'm like a MILF or a GILF. I don't care what you call me. Just call me. Call me. Yeah. Just call me.
It's whatever they'll cast you as.
Yes, whatever they want to cast me as. I'm for it. Like, I don't care.
No, you know what sucks is just...
There's like 6 GILFs. I'll happily be number 7.
Yeah, you'll put that up there.
Yeah.
Well, and it's it's funny because I was thinking about this when I was younger, I loved, the MILF genre was probably my favorite. And, and I still think, because I've always found, older women, more mature women, just more attractive.
Right.
And
hey, Finchy. Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. I saw when American Pie came out, I was 14 years old. So I was going into high school at that point. So
we should go for a drive later, Finchy.
Yeah. Right. So Jennifer Coolidge in that, like she became like the 90s Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah.
But even more so because Mrs. Robinson, I don't think still had that kind of massive appeal.
Yeah.
Like, she was, because Mrs. Robinson, I think, was portrayed more as a villain in The Graduate.
Yeah, I would agree.
Or, as this kind of seductress who wants to use Ben. And then when he falls for her daughter, she wants to basically sabotage that. Whereas Jennifer Coolidge as Stifler's mom.
Like, I just want to fuck.
Yeah, she was the fantasy. She was that fantasy. Yeah. And
where can I find a high school of 18-year-olds over 18, right?
Talk to Rochelle Ryan about that. She knows where to find the young guys.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. So, but anyway, when I was thinking about it, because I still will see that, I'll still see MILF porn and I'll think to myself, man, she's hot. And then I'll look and I'm like, damn, I'm older than she is now. And it just makes me think, because I'm like, I don't want to think of myself as being, that in that range. Like, it's hard because, getting older, it just feels like
you're still pretty young.
I'm youthful, I guess. When I tell people how old I am, a lot of times they don't believe me.
I'm youthful too. So
yes, you are. Exactly.
I got you.
So, which, I mean, hey, it's cool, because it's crazy to think how, because I imagine maybe like in your parents' generation, someone who was 40 probably looked 60.
Yeah.
Now, like, balding, or, they looked that age.
Yeah.
And now you see, did you see the Sports Illustrated cover with Martha Stewart on it? Okay.
What?
You gotta look it up. You gotta look it up. I'll show it to you. She was one of the featured cover models for Sports Illustrated. She's 81.
Oh my God.
When you see the picture.
No, I have not seen the No,
when you see I'll show it to you, because
you think it's photoshopped?
I don't think so, because I don't think so. No,
she's a baddie. She's a baddie. 81.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'm
doing this for 30 years.
Yeah, right. Well, what's amazing. What's hilarious too is that I think it was Bang Bros did a tweet where it retweeted the photo and it said, "Hear me out." Like, and then the responses are beautiful. Like seeing performers like, I'll be there with Martha, mommy Martha, calling her that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just like,
can I be her daughter?
Yeah,
please,
right. Yeah.
Let me be her daughter, please.
So, but no, it was because and that's the thing is, and I mean, granted, I try not to use celebrities too much as a benchmark, because celebrities obviously have money and resources to treatments and things to make themselves keep looking as good as they do.
We all do, though. We all have access to it.
Sure.
I'll tell you where the deals are. DM me.
Yeah, right. But like when you look at certain and obviously some people will hold themselves up to that standard of, I want to look like this, and it's somewhat, I think, almost unfair to be, because again, their entire job at this point is to look that way.
Yeah.
Like if your job is to be like you look at Tom Cruise, who turned 61 this year, right? You compare him to someone who's the same age as he is. I don't want to call anybody out for looking bad for their age, but just he's not your standard 60-plus-year-old man.
Right. And he also doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't do all those things. He works out. He eats healthy. He's got a nutritionist and a chef. Yeah, it's a money thing. You're right.
Yeah. Well, again, that's part of it, because I'm sure, like in your time, did you cook for celebrities?
Oh yeah. I've cooked for every celebrity in Los Angeles. I cooked for all the award shows.
Yeah.
It's one of the 3 chefs that can touch the protein.
Sure.
So yeah.
So, and I obviously I don't want you to call anybody out, name drop or anything. I'm just curious. I imagine, because every celebrities you can have some good, really cool celebrities. You can have some really awful celebrities. It's, in your experience, were they more often than not cool, or were they more often than not like they were kind of stuck up, or they were very not that pleasant to deal with?
So they've all been super nice, like, to me.
Really?
The only time I met like
big boobs.
Yeah, but I'm like,
they're hidden though, right?
I'm in a chef coat. I've got my hair pulled back, no makeup on,
sure,
because the food doesn't care what I look like. Right?
Obviously, yes.
So the only celebrity that I've ever met that wasn't gracious is actually someone from the porn industry.
Okay, well,
I didn't meet her. I didn't meet her during like a food thing, so it's probably not. It's apples and oranges. So
sure.
Otherwise, everyone is like always super gracious. Mm-hmm. Like a dirty chef coat and a knife kit, and you can get it anywhere.
Really?
I did the MTV Awards at Paramount Studios one year.
Okay,
and like that coat and that knife kit got me to sit front row while Kanye West rehearsed for 3 hours on his new Love Lockdown song. Nobody asked me anything. They said, "Hi, chef," walked me right on through.
Open pass.
Yeah, open pass. They're like, yeah.
So that's a nice way to kind of get yourself in there, being like, yeah, I'm with the cooking, I'm with the catering. So
yeah.
Front row, right?
Yeah,
right.
I should film some like free use stuff in a commercial kitchen somewhere, so people can be like, "This is what it's really like to give it to the chef."
Sure. So, well, and and I'm sure you've met other probably big celebrity chefs that are out there. And it's just interesting because I wanted to ask, from your perspective, do you think that a lot of these people are, say, because sometimes people get successful and famous and they might not necessarily have the again, I'm trying to think of a good way, a diplomatic way to say this, but they might be a little overhyped, or they might be a little they might be somebody who, say, has good connections that can get them more exposure as opposed to just being really, really talented. I'm just wondering, do you think that the big celebrity chefs, do you think that they're overrated, or do you think that most of them are like legit in terms of their abilities and that they should get the, kind of plaudits that they get?
I mean, all of the celebrity chefs that are on TV, like Ramsay, Keller, Anne Burrell, Emeril, the Vitaggio brothers, Richard Blais, they are legitimate badasses. Like they really are.
So it's not like that. So you can't fake your way.
I mean, okay. Other than Giada, I'm sorry, but she didn't have any background in it. Like she was famous and they needed a female, but everyone, and I'm sure she's kind of earned her chops, so to speak.
Sure.
But I mean, everyone preps
food
that
pun
stuff.
Intended?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah,
okay.
Food pun. Because I'm sure that's all like prepped for her, and they've run her through the recipe. And I, honest to God, don't think that she makes lasagna on Sunday at home.
Sure.
I think she eats like a bird.
Right.
But it's, I hope that answered the question.
No, it's fine.
Most of them are very talented. Like I've worked for some of them. I've worked for Ramsay.
Okay.
I've worked for Keller. I've worked for Wolfgang Puck. I've worked for a lot of them.
Sure.
In junior roles. Not like as a junior, but like as below them.
Okay.
Is like the sous chef and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so I would say 100% they're all very talented because I had so much I could learn from all of them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. All right. Now, I would be remiss because obviously the show is called the Huge Boob Corner if we didn't talk about boobs a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So let's get into the meat and potatoes of that. So have you always had big boobs?
I have.
You always have. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, have they grown over the years, or have they just kind of like they got to their size and they've stayed at that size?
So in high school, I had double Ds, and I was very popular with the boys and hated by the girls.
Sure.
So I didn't get to.
That's such a common story.
It is. Girls are bitches. Girls are bitchy when they're young because they're insecure and they're told by their mothers that, oh my God, that whore. And, I was never that kind of mother. So I had like double Ds. Mm-hmm. And then I got pregnant with my first daughter and they were like almost this big.
Sure.
And then after her, I was like, oh, I want them back.
Okay.
So I went and had them filled. I know they look natural. I can't show you.
Yeah.
But you can't tell.
I got to be honest. When I've seen them, I actually couldn't tell. And usually, I feel like I'm pretty good at knowing.
Well, they're only like less than 50%.
Sure.
Fake.
Sure.
So the rest is like real. So it's just like a little. Mm-hmm. It just like lifted them up a little bit. Now my nipples are getting hard because I'm playing with them.
Well, that's okay.
Okay. All right.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Although, it's hopefully YouTube's anti-whatever won't.
Hopefully Sport doesn't, they look really fucking good, right?
Yeah, no. Well, hey, and that's it's like sometimes I've always taken pride. Like, I feel like I don't have to ask, but with yours, I was saying, I don't know. And it bothered me.
Yeah. I made so much money in clubs with these tits because guys would be like, those aren't real. And I'd be like, yeah, they are. Touch them. If you can't fill the bag, you owe me a dance. Yeah. Got them every time.
So I'm curious, do you have a favorite thing about having big boobs?
Everything. Like they've opened more doors than doorknobs.
Sure.
No,
sure.
I mean, they're great. I can't imagine my life without them. Like, they're part of my personality.
Okay.
They get people to really underestimate me a lot of the times, which is always fun.
Well, and that's the thing. I've never understood the idea that having big boobs somehow translates into not having intelligence.
Yeah.
Like I've never gotten especially if they're natural, because it's like you can't affect how your body grows.
Yeah.
Like that. But this idea that, because I think it's because, big boobs are obviously, they are the best eye catchers, I think, in the world.
They are.
Nobody can't look at them.
Unless you're like 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Big boobs trumps them all every time.
Exactly.
Unless it's like a really big ass, but the big ass should be like hanging out.
Yeah. Well, but like boobs especially, you can be walking around and everybody looks at them.
Yes.
Even if it's a reflex.
Yes.
Like
mommy. Yeah,
right. It's something where even if people don't want to look at them or have like they will. So I think they're the most natural eye catching, especially, I mean, at least body part.
Yes.
But, so, and that's, it's something that, obviously can get a lot of positive attention, a lot of negative attention. But it sounds like for you, I mean, do you still get like negativity thrown to you, or is it mostly, positive?
I don't really care if some girl doesn't like him anymore. Now I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
There was a time where, my family was always like, why do you always have to dress like that? Why are they always out? And then I'm like, why aren't yours? Why aren't you more sexual?
Yeah.
Why aren't you more flirty? Why is this my problem?
Yeah.
And so I think I've just learned over the years, I don't listen to any of the negative stuff because I really don't care. And the positive stuff is really great. At the end of the day, if me having big boobs and walking around can make someone else smile or add a little value or happiness to someone's day, then okay, great.
Well, I don't know anything that makes me smile more than huge boobs, except for maybe cheese.
Okay.
But you can combine those.
Yes, you can combine them.
But
yes, you can, George Costanza. Yes,
yeah, right. So
you can smear some of the cheese on them.
A nice brie, on there.
Right? Just a little camembert.
Yeah, something soft.
Yeah, pois for sure.
So getting some good ideas.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious. When you did Score reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
I reached out to Score. When I was dating Thor, he was like, you should hit up Elliot Stone from Score on Twitter. And I did. And so he gave me the information of their talent acquisition people. Okay. And I reached out to them. They said to send them some pictures. And within like 24 hours, I had my first offer letter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I was like, yay.
Oh, that's, do you think that did they leave it so that, hey, we want you back? Or is it something that you'd have to follow up with, do you think?
I'm sure I would probably have to follow up. They have hundreds and hundreds of people.
Sure.
I'm sure that hit them up every day. And so I'm just grateful for the shoots that I got with them. Of course, I would, love to do more work with them in any sense. So,
sure. So aside from obviously the major companies that are out there, is there any company in particular that you love, like you love what they do, the look of them, and you think that because a lot of them are similar, but some of them can really stand out. I don't know if there's any. I really
love Brazzers. I like the way they shoot, where it's kind of like comedic and there's like personality in it.
Yeah.
Bang Bros is fun. Like they've been around forever, right? To be in the back of that bus, pretending like, oh, I just don't know what to do. Oh, that would be like iconic. I'd be like,
well, and they're more reality based. Like they're more the reality kind of, because I remember when they started that they tried to play it off like the girls in the van and the bus were just regular people.
Yeah.
And instead of actually, and maybe in the beginning a lot of them were just more amateur performers.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I saw somebody, I think, on an episode of theirs that I was like, oh, I know. I've seen her in a lot of stuff. I know that where this is going.
Yeah.
But no, Brazzers definitely has that focus on almost kind of that classic storyline type stuff, which personally I actually kind of miss. I miss I know reality has taken a lot because a lot of people like the amateur reality stuff, but part of me almost likes a narrative.
I like the narrative. I like the story, right?
Yeah,
I want to really root for the people. You need some lead up to that. Like Gonzo scenes just don't do it for me personally.
Sure.
I mean, they're great for some people, but yeah.
It's getting down to the nitty gritty on those scenes. There's no setup. There's no, characterization, as it were.
Yeah.
You would want to play characters.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm into role play. So
sure.
Yeah, all these scenes and scripts and stuff I love. I like it. I really love them. So.
Yeah. So it's.
Yeah. So Brazzers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take note.
Yeah. Naughty America.
Yeah, right.
You know, yeah, they're doing VR stuff, and I'm really into like VR and AR porn. I really want to be kind of on the cutting edge as that comes forward too.
See, that stuff is weird to me. Like I had somebody.
I think it's so exciting. Like, 'cause you can get like a haptic feedback suit with like 40 pressure points, 20 on the front and 20 on the back, and you can put scent in that. And you can put the hand things on and the shoulder things on and the feet things on. I haven't really read anything very much about it. No, I read so much about it.
Okay.
You know, like you can experience what it feels like to like dribble a basketball when you have these suits on.
Sure.
Like they're intense, right? And if you could be able to like feel your favorite, like, you know, porn star or creator, and then like their scent, oh my God, right? And then with all the other things that they have, like Kairu and Levins, like you can be fully immersive. I'm just saying.
You know what? And I'll say this, I get it. I get that some people might be really into that. Part of me, I don't know if this is just I'll become like a porno Luddite, where I just like the old style, where I'm just watching it, and whatever I'm doing to myself, unless I'm actually with somebody else. Yeah. Because part of me worries that if we get to a point where the technology gets that way, then we'll become even more separated from each other, where it's like, well, now I can actually feel what it's like to be with somebody else without being with somebody else.
Right. But can you understand how porn stars can now scale?
Sure.
I'm entrepreneur at heart, so I'm just. I think it would be really fun to like you can get fucked by whoever you want, you know, like me, you, anybody.
Sure.
So I'm just saying, it's just like it adds another level.
I don't think many people would pay for me, but I'm sure
you don't know that. You don't know that.
Not as many for you. You know, queen of the 10,000. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Now I just have to hit 10,000 in porn.
You know, I wish that they would have like some sort of plaque that like some organization, like you gave them, if you could give them.
Tell XBiz I need like a special plaque.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, like
you have like, documented proof.
Yeah. Like there should be like a Hall of Fame for the number or something.
Right. Body count Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So
I totally win that. I think maybe.
Yeah, well, it's. I mean, nowadays with apps. I mean, the fact that hooking up or just meeting people, there's just so many ways to do it now, and all apps. I don't even know if people go on apps to actually date anymore. If it's just trying to find like a booty call.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I have a Tinder, but it's. I don't really like use it like that. Sure. I just put my innocuous, innocent Instagram on there.
Right. Yeah.
That has my really naughty link tree.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, I have met some people on Tinder and Bumble, I think, that are actually generally like my friends in real life now. So there are times, you know.
Yeah, and it's it's weird because. Like, and now, I mean, nowadays, it's hard for me to even, like, I got off of those things because I started to not trust, especially the photos. Because now, I mean, there's AI stuff out there now that you can, 100% see that it's not even a real person.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's a lot of profiles on those apps of, say, adult performers and, pretending to be somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if those apps actually go through the process to try to weed out those fake profiles. But yeah, I don't know. Part of me is like, you know what? I just want to meet people in a more kind of, again, in a more old fashioned, like through mutual, say, either working environment or something. Yeah. Because then, I see you right now. That's how you look.
Yeah.
Like if I were to, I mean, and not that you look that different from your pictures.
Right.
But I can, it's like, I get the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, but that's just me. And
yeah, I do look like my pictures.
You do. But there are people out there that, unfortunately, I've had experiences where their pictures do not represent them accurately.
Yeah, I've actually had an agent tell me that my pictures didn't accurately resemble me, and I was like, "What pictures are you looking at?"
Sure.
Yeah, so I was like, "We don't need to use them."
Yeah. Now, when
you know who you are.
I'm curious. So, when you go out on dates with guys, do you try to show more cleavage, less cleavage, or is it? Because I imagine it could be potentially a test. Like, how good can this guy focus on? Say a conversation if you've got like that wearing that.
I don't think like that. I just think what am I going to look sexy in?
Sure.
What am I going to feel sexy in?
Okay.
What can I get away with not wearing panties with?
Okay.
And so that's how I pick my outfit. And obviously like where I'm going dictates like.
Yeah, if you're going to a 5-star restaurant, you're probably going to be a little nice dress or something.
Yeah, I mean something a little bit more refined. Yeah. Probably Booby's still going to be out because where am I going to put them?
Yeah. I think it'd be great to have you as again, if to go to a nice restaurant, because you would have that insight into the food.
Yeah.
To know, like, I feel like you'd get the food and then you could break down the food to be like, oh, this is how they did this. This is how they did this.
Yeah. And there's no restaurant that I can't go to and taste anything and not go home and replicate.
Yeah. So, okay. That's so
crazy
like a sense memory kind of thing.
Yeah, I have a crazy memory palette like that. Like I can taste something and be like, that's it, and go home and make it. It's
like musicians that can hear a tune and then know how to play it exactly.
Yeah, I can't play music by ear to save my life. No. But food, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, man, so huge boobs and cooking. I mean, you're like...
I could feed you and fuck you like a king. Yeah.
And that. I mean, you just... I mean, I don't know how many men you'll win over with that, but obviously another 10,000?
I hope.
Right?
Honestly, like, I love this journey that I'm on. And yeah, I could absolutely feed and fuck anybody. Yeah, so I'm just grateful for the journey. And,
sure. Well, and it's, again, like, it sounds like it's been a really positive thing. And the great thing about the industry is that there's no cutoff point when you need to stop. You brought up Sally D'Angelo. And I don't know how old she is. I don't care. I don't care either.
She's fabulous and classy. However old she is, she's classy. I love her and sexy.
And there's another one named Rita Daniels. I don't know if you've ever seen. Yeah. She's been around for a long time, and she still does a lot of great work. So I'd love to have them both on at some point. That'd be because it's all,
call him.
Yeah, right. All the big boobs. It's just, again, and the thing is, everybody here is going to be different in terms of what we're going to be talking about. But so I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to put out there in terms of, because we're getting close on the time.
We are getting close, yeah.
But here's the thing: is the nice thing about this is that this won't be the only time that you'll be here. I would love to have you back.
I would love to be back, of course, anytime, as long as I'm in town. I'm all yours.
Yes, and the fact that you'll always be my first. Right? Yes. You always remember your first.
It's so funny because cherries are actually in season right now, too. I saw it.
Interesting.
Yes, I popped your cherry.
Oh, well, thank you for being so gentle and so warm and so friendly.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I had a wonderful time.
Thank you.
So anyway, Melony Melons, I can't wait to talk to you again here.
And you can find me on any platform under Melony Melons XXX, like any of them.
Yep. All right.
Thank you.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.